All right, we're live. Welcome everyone to this week's edition of Fights Unwrapped. Right now, joining me is my co-host Alec Carr. Hopefully, my other co-host Dustin Hunt comes and joins us a little bit later. We have a lot of headlines to talk about, as well as UFC San Diego to break down. So we are gonna get into it. Right before we do that, though, we're gonna give a shout out to our sponsors real quick. Anybody that has any injuries, sports injuries, gym injuries, whatever you have. If you want to get premium CBD products, you should check out rxhemp.com. Use our promo code rxhemp-usn and you can get 10% off your entire order. As well as if anyone's betting on this card, which is an insane card, by the way, this week, you can go to mybookie.ag and we have a promo code USN100 where you can get 100% sign up bonus if you join today. All right. So, like I said, we have a lot of headlines to talk about. I think, Alec, you added a few more, so We'll get started with the first one, which is obviously Poirier versus Chandler. I think that was last week's headline.
Yeah, that was from last week. We don't need to
Yes,
talk about that. Move on.
I knew I missed that. I was like, I don't think we're gonna talk about it this week, but we're gonna start with this one because this one was the first headline that I posted in our chats, which is Juliana Pena wants to rematch against Amanda Nunes. If anyone does not know what I'm talking about, they just fought, at the last pay per view, and Amanda Nunes pretty much whooped her ass, to say the least. Juliana Pena a few punches in. Nunes does look a little bit beat up. But yeah, Pena wants that rematch. But I'm not for it. Alec is like pretty much saying the same thing, except the fact that he wants someone to be facing Pena first before she gets the rematch with Nunes. Dustin, if Dustin was on, he could have attested to the fact that he supports this rematch. We actually talked about it a little bit in our chats, but I'm gonna go to Alec Carr first, obviously. Who do you think is right in this one? Do you think that she deserves the rematch? Do you think that you know? Oh, he's in. Add him in. Right
There
on
he
time,
is. Look
buddy.
at that fresh cut. Look at him. Look at him all
Real
interview ready.
good, I know he's like just fresh cut, got a new job apparently. So congrats to Dustin for that. But we're gonna start with our first headline, obviously. And Dustin, I wanted Dustin to come on and talk about this because he really wants the rematch to happen, or he supports the rematch. So we're gonna start with Alec Carr. Alec Carr, do you think she deserves it? Do you think that she should face someone else first? What do you think about this rematch request?
So she doesn't deserve an instant rematch. That's just a fact. She came on. Sorry, I got a little echo going on in here. But she got Juliana Pena got her ass whooped. She got her ass handed to her. Quite literally, she got her ass handed to her. She got beat up. We watched it. She got beat up for 5 rounds. Juliana Pena had gotten. I haven't seen, and we touched on this impulsively because we had time last week for a little bit. But I've never seen a fighter play with their food so blatantly in that fight. Um, that was pretty crazy. How, especially the when Nunes had her in that choke, that was in. That was in. She was stretching the body. She was pulling. She was pulling. You even saw. I watched it again. Pena's hand was going up. She was getting ready to tap, and it was like Nunes recognized that and just let go. Um, I've never seen that before in a fight. She was pretty deliberately out on a mission to prove that she is every way in every part of the game in every section of the game better than Pena, and it's not even close. Not for a second was Nunes worried about being in Pena's guard. Not for a second did Pena actually have almost any of those submissions that BC was screaming, "It's in, it's in, it's in." It was never in. It wasn't even close. Um, and there's another woman who's coming up that deserves a shot right now. Ketlin Vieira is an absolute monster. She is. And it's just, if Juliana Pena wants a rematch, go beat Ketlin. Go beat Ketlin, because I'm honestly, if that fight was made right now, I'm not picking Pena in it. I'm picking Ketlin. Ketlin would probably submit her and quickly. Pena well, if we remember the lead up to the last fight, the first fight, right? Everyone was like, why is Pena getting this fight? She doesn't deserve it. She hasn't really beaten anyone. She hasn't really done anything in the division. She's just there. And Amanda had no one else to fight at the time. Well, now she does. There's a legitimate contender right now. Will she beat Nunes? No, fuck no. No one's gonna beat Nunes again after that. Pena awoke that fucking beast. She really did. And for her to just say there, saying, I'm ready for round 8 right now. No, you're not. You just got a chunk of your flesh replaced. You are not ready for round 8. You're not even close to ready for round 8. In fact, you have over a 6-month medical suspension. You guys know this, but I don't know if our listeners know this. When you have over a 6-month medical suspension, it just says more than 6 months. That's all it says. It doesn't, like, she is out for a long time, and she did get some punches in. I will say this about Pena: she proved how hard she could hit in that fucking fight, because she only landed a couple of clean shots, and Amanda was fucking. She looked like she was in a fight, even though it was only a couple of clean shots. Amanda clearly looked like she was in a fight after that. But yeah, Nunes whooped her ass. She doesn't deserve an immediate rematch. Not even close. Go fight Ketlin, prove yourself again, and then Amanda can fight Shevchenko in the meantime, and then you can come back and fight Amanda again if you beat Ketlin.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with Alec, but I know, Dustin, you have a different story when it comes to this rematch. So why don't you explain why you support it?
First of all, because it's 1-1 for me. Like, one got destroyed. That's how it goes for me. And people can say her injuries and give a bunch of excuses. She gave up. I don't know. She gave up. And the second fight, I'm not surprised Juliana lost, because when you think about it, Amanda was way too motivated for that fight. Because she came in, she felt embarrassed. I guarantee it, as she should have. She felt very embarrassed by that first one. So the fact that she beat the snot out of her, the second time, I'm not exactly surprised. Did I want that to happen? No, because I kind of like Juliana Pena. She's funny. But when she said she's ready for Amanda, like, soon, no, she ain't. Like, she's busted up. I agree with Alec. She's not ready to fight anytime soon. She looks like she had to wear sunglasses at the TUF finale. So, and there was a reason for that, because you had black eyes and you had bruises all over your face.
She was concussed still too, by the way.
And literally, the reason I like that third fight, first of all, I don't care how she gets it. I don't care if she beats somebody and gets it. I don't care if it's immediate. The only time I'll say not immediate is if the UFC finds Amanda Nunes a entertaining fight. If they get Valentina, then all deals off with Juliana. If Valentina gets that fight, all deals off. Because Juliana doesn't deserve it over Valentina. There's obvious. And the reason Juliana really got the shot was, I said it in the chats, dude, she cleared out the division. There's no more people, really. There's a couple new talents coming up, but has the cleaning out the division syndrome, where they just start throwing stuff at the wall. Hope it sticks. I mean, that's what they're doing right now. And really, Trilogy, I don't think Amanda would be as motivated for that third fight, so we'll see. We'll see how it plays out if that trilogy happens.
Well, I'll just say that if that trilogy happens, she's not letting go of that chokehold that was clearly in. She's just finishing the fight.
I really think Dana's going to make it eventually. Do I think he's going to make it immediately? Maybe not. But I think Juliana's a pretty good fighter, but Amanda was too motivated in that fight. She was going to win. We'll see. We'll see. I hope she fights Valentina, so I hope the rematch does not come immediate.
I'll just say this though. It's not an excuse if you're injured and can't have a fight camp. Like, she was injured and had COVID. She had less than half of a fight camp leading up into that fight. Did she give up? Yeah, she gave up. But she wasn't prepared.
She shouldn't have stepped on that. She should have
Right. That's my
she shouldn't
point.
have stepped on that.
That's my point. She shouldn't have stepped out. Dana White gave her the opportunity to step out of that fight. He said, we can reschedule this. It doesn't need to happen right now. You can have another month. And Amanda didn't listen to her camp. Her own camp said, don't take the fight. Don't take the fight. Don't take the fight. Reschedule, reschedule, reschedule. And she was like, no, I'm a fighter. And she didn't have her old camp, the one she had for this one, in there to convince her. It was her. And that was a big mistake. It was a huge mistake because it tarnished her record. It did. She lost one fight. She could have been undefeated over her entire career, but now she has an L on it.
She was not undefeated. She was not undefeated going in that fight. She's already been.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. The streak. She could have had the streak continue.
Oh, yeah.
But she decided stupidly to not delay that fight.
That sounds like an Amanda.
It's not an excuse. It's not an excuse. It's a dumb mistake.
You stepped on the mat. Excuse now. You stepped on. You should have pulled up. It's an excuse now. You should have stepped on.
Anyway, it just she wasn't prepared for the fight and she lost and she looked unprepared. She did. She just looked unprepared. She wasn't ready to step into the octagon. And that's what we saw. And then we saw the real Amanda, who literally played with her food for 5 rounds. Literally just played with her food. Let go of chokeholds. Let go of submissions. Didn't jump on her when she fucking laid her out with one of the most powerful hooks I've ever seen in my entire life. Like a yard sale in fucking in hockey. That just like she got popped and she could have been finished, but Amanda chose not to finish her. She chose not to lunge on her.
I don't know that to fact, so I'm not gonna speculate on that.
Of course we'll never know for a fact, but if
she did that.
She made those comments after the fight, said that she purposely didn't go for a finish. She made those comments that she purposely.
If she did do that, if she did that, she should be suspended from fighting because that can kill somebody. That you can kill somebody in a ring like that. So yeah, you can. Yeah. I wouldn't shake my head. You can. You play with your food like that, you can hurt somebody, man. That's not ethical. That's not at all. Finish her. If you could have finished her and you didn't finish her on purpose, I would suspend her if I was the UFC president. I'm like, that is ridiculous. If I can prove she didn't do that on purpose, she would be in trouble if I was the boss. You can kill somebody. That's not good at all.
Anyway.
Guys, we can talk about that for another day. Obviously, that's another topic, but we got a few more headlines to talk about. I'm going to jump course. I'm not going to go in order because obviously we got the 2 of my co-hosts here. So let's talk about something super controversial. What the fuck happened on Tuesday night?
I didn't see the fight.
Yo. Okay, so Alec, because I saw highlights, I'm sure you watched the fight. Why don't you fill Dustin and the rest of the people watching in on what happened with Bo Nickal?
Was he boring? Is that why you
No, super exciting.
Yeah.
Super exciting fight. Guy doesn't get hit. We were watching Khamzat Chimaev. That's what it looked like. Guy doesn't get hit. He lands a good, clean lead hook. Good, clean lead hook. Rocks his opponent. Opponent goes against the cage. Regains himself. The easiest double leg takedown I've ever seen in my life, guys. The easiest double leg takedown that I've ever seen in my life. He with such a force pulled both of his legs out from under him. They both went parallel to the ground. Like it was like textbook wrestling. And then continues to he gets the choke in. It's not there yet though. And he recognizes it. Like, this is how high this kid's fight IQ goes. And I know he's not really a kid. He's like 26, whatever. But I'm going to call him a kid. This is how high his fight IQ is. He recognized the choke wasn't in and he wasn't in the right position. So what does he do? He lets go. He lets go because he was going forward from the front. He lets go. He takes the back, doesn't, and realizes that, oh, wait, I'm not in the right position. So I'm going to land some heavy strikes here first for a little bit. And then when the choke is there, presents itself, I'll get it locked in again. And that's exactly what happened. Not boring at all. Bo Nickal absolutely annihilated his opponent in 62 seconds. Absolutely incredible. So exciting. He is what we were told he was. He was 1-0 coming in, 2-0 coming 1-0 or 2-0, 2-0 coming into the UFC. But that doesn't count his wrestling, collegiate wrestling. The guy has been undefeated since his sophomore year. He is his division champ. What? So I'm getting there. Let me get there because we should just throw this up here real quick. Can you throw it up? Monique? Because I'm going to go on for a little bit. So he is absolutely one of the most decorated wrestlers in UFC history. Just period. He Olympic trials, was in the Olympic trials. I had an opportunity to go to the Olympics. He absolutely undefeated since his sophomore year and very, 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 very high level of collegiate wrestling. Was a collegiate wrestling champion, which we all agree means you should be signed by the UFC immediately because that means you're one of the best wrestlers in the fucking world. Just period. That's what it means. And he, in his coming into the UFC 2-0, absolutely annihilated his opponents. The first one was in stand-up, guys. Was textbook striking, precision striking against his opponent in his first pro fight. And knocked him out in the first round. Absolutely incredible. This guy is the most well-rounded. Could be one of the highest. He has the ability to dominate this middleweight division for the next 10 years. Seriously, the next 10 years. And what does Dana White do? What does fucking Dana White do that he's slowly learning not to do? But this is such old school Dana White. He's too young. He doesn't have enough. He doesn't have enough yet. The Dana White Contender Series has 3 more weeks. Why wouldn't I just book him another fight on the Dana White Contender Series to desperately try to get viewership on something that doesn't get viewership? I love the Contender Series. You guys love the Contender Series, but it doesn't get viewership, period. That's what this is. That's what this decision fucking is. This decision is trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense business-wise. He's trying to sell to Endeavor, the actual owners of the UFC, of why the Dana White Contender Series makes sense. Look at this kid. We're going to schedule him to have another fight so that he can prove himself even more. He dominated his opponent. He was the most dominant fighter of the goddamn night. He absolutely annihilates his opponent. He annihilates his 2 other opponents before this, and he goes he doesn't have enough experience. Not true. Fucking bullshit. Next point. Sorry, this is a pretty intense rant. Next point. All those, I'm not going to name any names, but all of those experts on Twitter with the blue checks, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself, all of them. I don't care. I don't care if that hurts us in the long run as a stream, but go fuck yourself. Honestly, you guys are coming out with excuses for Dana White for no reason not to sign up. I saw people saying, well, the fight commissions won't agree to a fight with someone who's that doesn't have the same level of experience of his opponent. Brock Lesnar came in 0-0 professionally. 0-0. And fought 4 times and was champion. What the fuck are you guys talking about? I'm sorry, that's just insane. It doesn't make any sense. This guy has more collegiate experience than most of these guys coming into the UFC. He has more organized fighting experience than most of the people in the UFC. One of our favorite fighters, Pooh Bear. We all know him. We all love him. We watched him have that fucking amazing knockout and said, I can't be called Pooh Bear anymore because all I do is finish my opponents, which is fair. It's fair. This guy, Bo Nickal, has more experience than him in organized fighting. So to say that he doesn't have experience in organized fighting, he only has 2 professional fights. He He needs to have more in order to be in the UFC. Go fuck yourself. You're excusing Dana White for making this choice. And the reason I get so worked up about this, listen, he's going to have one more fight in the Dana White series, and he's going to win. And he's going to get signed after that. That's fine. But why risk the injury? Why risk ending this guy's career on a goddamn glorified amateur fight? Because that's what the Dana White Contender Series is. When you have a guy that could dominate the division for 10 years, a division that needs it desperately. The middleweight division right now is boring. It's boring. It's fucking boring. You got Izzy at top and the other guys that can't beat him. That's what the division is. The division continues to get weaker. They're manufacturing the fucking rise of Alex Pereira to try to get viewership for the middleweight division. When you got Bo fucking Nickel from Penn State Wrestling right there. You got him right in front of you. He's 26 years old. He could be in the division for 10 years and be champ for 9 of those years. And you fucking sign him to another Dana White Contender Series? Fuck off, Dana White. I'm sorry. I'm done. I'm not done, but I'm done.
Well, there you have it, everybody. That's the reason why, unfortunately, Bo Nichols was not signed to the UFC. And well, besides Alec, obviously, there's more people that are frustrated by that. Yeah, Dustin, you want to say something?
I'll say something, dude. Dana White always confuses me on the Contender Series because at the end, I'll see him sign certain fighters for a reason, right? And then I'll see him not sign fighters for the same reason he signed the last one. It didn't make any sense. He doesn't make sense sometimes. I don't get it. I mean, don't get me wrong. Dana White's Dana White for a reason. You know, he can see who's good, obviously. But it's like, why? I don't understand. What's his like path to sign people? It's almost like he doesn't have a set criteria, in my opinion. Like he just does it to do it. I don't fully get it. With Bo Nickel, first of all, saying that he doesn't have the experience, like Alex said, he's been fighting his whole life. I mean, dude, he's been wrestling probably since he was 5. Wrestlers have the most advantage over any sport, and the biggest reason is because they're highly used to one-on-one combat. Is what it is. They're very, very used to one-on-one fighting. Very, very used to it. And they've probably been doing it since they were a kid. Now, don't get me wrong. Obviously, boxing, kickboxing is the same way, but wrestling is such a dominant form of a martial art that it's very hard to get out of when they're really good at it. So Bo Nickel, again, he's top level. Now, do I understand the MMA experience? Do I understand like Dana wanting him to have a few more fights before he just throws him to the UFC? I guess, but then you have a point with Brock Lesnar. Then you got a point with CM Punk. You let CM Punk in the UFC, buddy, and you wouldn't let Bo Nickel. I was like, that's ridiculous. I don't care about seeing like, oh, well, he did that to sell tickets. He didn't sell tickets. He got beat up. CM Punk was going to get beat up. I don't care who he fought. He could have fought the last person in the rankings. He's about to get beat up. So I really don't get Dana White. I don't get Dana White. He just doesn't make sense to me on the Contender Series. And then he was just complaining and got all angry that he wants fighters to finish and make it exciting. So a fighter finishes and makes it exciting, you don't sign him. It don't make no sense, Dana.
62 seconds.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, make that make sense to me, because it doesn't. Like, you complain, you cry, bitch, and moan, and then someone does it and you don't sign them because they only have a couple fights. So what?
It's ratings, dude. He needs ratings for that to make sense of Dana White Contender Series. It's all it is. It's all it comes down to. And to excuse it with anything else is just bullshit. You're just co-signing his bullshit.
Yeah, no, I agree with both of you. I don't get it personally. Bo Nichols, hopefully he gets signed to the UFC eventually, but we got to move on because we have a few more headlines to talk about before we break down UFC San Diego. Real quick, guys, we have a few upcoming matchups on the way. One of them being Sean Strickland versus Cannonier, which is obviously we're talking about the middleweight division. So funny that we were just talking about that. I think that Sean Strickland's fight IQ isn't there. I think that, it's just, this is a joke of a fight. Cannonier's going to whoop his ass. I think a lot of people probably would agree with me. Strickland just totally, I lost faith in him since the last match against Alex Pereira, and that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Alec, You were pretty much laughing when I put up this headline. So, what are your thoughts on this fight?
I was laughing when they announced this fight. It was first round knockout. Like Sean Strickland's been exposed. I've been trying to tell people since day one. He's a good fighter, but he fights off of his heels. And you can't do that in today's MMA. Like, you can't fight off your heels in today's MMA. You can't do that. He's slow. He would have been great 10, 15 years ago. He probably would have dominated the not dominated the middleweight division, but he would have done very well. It's just, like, you can't do that. These guys are so fast now. Everybody's on their toes, and to fight on your heels is just dumb. Jared Cannonier is going to knock him out in the first round. And it's not even going to be close. He's going to come out there swinging from the hip like Sean Strickland does. Cannonier is going to hit him with a 1-2 or an overhand right, and he's going to put him to sleep. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, Dustin, do you have any thoughts on Cannonier versus Strickland?
I'm not giving Strickland too much of a shot. First of all, he's not better than Cannonier on the feet. I mean, he's just not. He's not a better wrestler. So, I mean, in my opinion, this is just an easy fight for Cannonier because Strickland, I hate the way he holds his hands. I don't know what it is when he holds his hands up. I hate it. It looks stupid. It looks stupid.
He looks like he's fighting from the 50s, dude. He's like, ah.
He looks like, I'm telling you, like, I'm going to go back to it, dude. He looks like the drunk uncle at the barbecue. Like, the way he holds his hands. Like, I'm just like, stop it. That's so awkward. Like, why do his coaches let him do that? How hard is it? How hard is it to do this? How hard is it to do that? It's just not. Like, I don't understand why he does. No, I don't get why. I don't understand. That's not even a good guard, dude. Like, they're gonna come right around that. Like, I don't understand. But a lot of people have their hands down MMA, which I hate also. But it happens. No, he don't got a shot, dude. And first of all, I laughed and kind of lost like respect for Strickland when it came to his words when he said he could kickbox with Alex Pereira. No, you cannot. Izzy got beat by Alex Pereira, bruh. Twice. And he knocked him out, slept him out cold. And I'm like, you're sitting over here saying you can kickbox with probably in his weight class, arguably probably the best in the world. I mean, let's be real. So he's weird. He's a weirdo. I never take anything he says seriously, even when he makes his little comments on his stuff. I think he looks for attention, and his attention is about to go down because the 185 division is about to roll over him now. So, yeah, we'll see how far he goes.
Okay, speaking of which, Dustin just mentioned Izzy versus Alex Pereira. I don't know why this was not a headline, not this week, but maybe another week before. Okay, guys, what do you think about it real quick? I know Alec Carr, like we talked about this briefly in another show, but who do you think, quickly, who do you think would actually win that fight, though, even years after the fact?
Izzy's going to win. I'm sorry, he's just going to win. Last time they fought was over 5 years ago. Izzy's a totally different fighter. He's like, and Alex Pereira is at the end of his career. Like, Alex Pereira is 36. He's not young. Like, people keep acting like he's this young guy that beat Izzy twice. No, he was in his prime while Izzy was not in his prime yet. Like, Izzy's a totally different fighter. He's a way smarter fighter now than he was when they first fought. And if you watch those two fights, you can tell the difference. Izzy was young and dumb and took lots of risks. And Alex Pereira was in his prime and smart and capitalized on those risks because he was a better fighter at the time. Just to be honest, he was a better fighter at the time. Izzy is now smart. He's got the highest fight IQ in the division. He just does. So, yeah, Izzy's going to win this fight. It probably goes the distance, but he's going to win this fight.
Okay, Dustin, real quick, who do you think's going to win, Alex versus Izzy?
It's hard to say, man, because Izzy don't wrestle. So he ain't going to wrestle him. So we'll see. Here's the problem for Izzy in this fight. He's not going to be able to do that point correct because Alex Pereira's got the reach. He's got the legs. He's the same build. He might be even bigger. And he's not going to be able to just back away the whole fight. He's not going to be able to just keep him at range because both their ranges are the same. So as soon as Izzy steps in, he's in range. He's in range for Alex Pereira. He doesn't have the physical advantage in this fight. Just like when John Jones first fought Gustafsson. The fact that Gustafsson had the length and John did not have that advantage and that physical advantage, Gustafsson was able to put it on him a little more than other guys have because he wasn't used to that distance. It's. I think Alex Pereira's got a good chance in this fight. Do I think? I don't know. I don't even know who to pick because I think if Izzy is bored, Izzy's not going to be able to be bored because Alex is going to come forward. He's not going to just sit there. And they're both the same size. Like I said, he cannot keep him on the outside. He can't. They're just as long. And so he's going to be able to punch him from across the ring. Izzy's going to be able to punch him from across the ring. It's going to be a good fight. But if Izzy does not do some MMA style grappling or clinching or something, I think Alex Pereira's got a very good shot to win.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think I can choose someone right now. I kind of want Izzy to lose just because I want some like challenge for him, like everybody in that division he's cleaned out pretty much except Alex Pereira, and I would love to see a challenge. I would love to see some type of rematch, but that's just me. But anyways, we got to move on
to fight Jerry.
Yeah. Speaking of who, we are going to talk about him real quick right now. Obviously, we got Yuri versus Glover Teixeira, number 2 in the works for UFC. I think it's 282 later this year. We just put this up real quick because we have to talk about this, obviously. Now, I love me some Glover Teixeira. I also love me some Yuri, but Yuri's striking is one of the best that I've ever seen, and I can see it just happening the same way, like the whole fight happening the same way. I don't see Glover winning. Yuri's just on another level, and his striking is impeccable. He won't probably knock out Glover, but he'll knock him down probably. He probably will get him into another submission. I can see that happening. Real quick, Alec Carr, who do you think will win this rematch if it goes down later this year?
Yeah, Yuri's gonna win. I love Glover Teixeira. You guys know I love Glover Teixeira, but I'm just still laughing, picturing fucking who would look tiny next to Izzy versus Yuri. Like Izzy would look so small next to Yuri. And it's just funny. Sorry. He would just kill it. Anyway. Yuri was able to show off his grappling skills. He was able to show off his ground game. No matter what fucking dumb shit Anthony Smith says, Yuri was able to roll out of submissions that no one was able to roll out of against Glover Teixeira. Yuri was able to hold his own on the ground with Glover Teixeira, which we've never really seen, except for John Jones. And no one's ever really been able to do that with Glover Teixeira. That's where he's always been the most dominant. That's why he's champ. That's why he was champ. And let's be honest, we all watched that fight. We probably all watched it multiple times. Yuri, I know it's fight of the year for sure. It was a very close fight leading up to the submission, but Yuri's punches were clearly more damaging than Glover Teixeira's. Clearly, like when he landed clean, it was like, oh, fuck, what? like Teixeira, I'm worried. This rematch, I'm excited for. I'm really excited for. I still wish Teixeira would have retired. I understand why he didn't because the fight was much closer than we thought it would be. That being said, I do really wish he just retired because I'm just starting to worry about him, how many times he's been hit in the head, to be quite serious. So I got Yuri winning this fight. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I think Yuri walks away with it. I don't think he can finish him. I don't think anyone can finish him except with a submission because that fucking head is just iron at this point. So, but Yuri wins.
For sure. Dustin, real quick, who do you think's going to win this rematch?
I'm not sure why this 40-year-old is coming back. I don't get it, dude. From what I know about just human anatomy, when you're 40 years old, your body does not heal the same. It just doesn't. You don't have the healing ability that you had in your early 30s and your 20s. First of all, what I need Glover to know is he put up the best fight possible against Yuri and lost. So I don't know if he thinks he's going to do better. I don't think so. I think it's actually leaning more towards Yuri about to beat your ass in this fight because he's already seen you once and he already beat you. and he's gonna tire you out. He's a younger guy. He's a freaking gargantuan, by the way. That dude is massive. Like, he is big. He's long, and dude, he's pretty. He's a specimen, man. I don't know why he wants to step in an octagon with him again, but Jerry's gonna win this fight. I don't even think it's a debate in my head. I don't know how anybody, unless Glover lands a sub or something spectacular. I don't think he's knocking him out. So we'll see, dude.
Yeah, for sure. I think we're all in agreement with this one, but we have one more headline. I know this is we kind of went really far with a couple of headlines, but we got one more, and we're gonna end it off in a positive note. What if we had a showdown between Terrence McKinney and Paddy Pimblett? Now, a lot of people were actually speculating on this. A lot of call-outs, a lot of people actually really excited because we just saw Terrence McKinney with that amazing sub, and obviously Paddy Pimblett with pretty much an identical sub, pretty much almost the same thing. So a lot of people were saying, like, what if those two actually fought? What do you think would happen? So I'm going to ask Alec Carr, who's shaking his head, what do you think's going to happen if these two actually fight it out?
They will fight it out, but not until they're both in the top 5, because it doesn't make sense before then. Period. It does, like, financially for the UFC, it would be a waste of time and money for them to fight right now, because they wouldn't. A lot of people wouldn't watch because Terrence McKinney, not even most. Paddy Pimblett is in casuals' eyes right now. Terrence McKinney is not. He's just not. I love Terrence McKinney. T-Rex is awesome. I absolutely enjoy his fighting. That being said, Paddy Pimblett is on a different level of fame than him, too. And people love to hate on him for some reason and are just saying McKinney is absolutely best fighter, even though Terrence McKinney just lost to Drew Dauber and fought Eric Gonzalez, which is not – yeah, what he did was impressive, but Eric Gonzalez is Eric Gonzalez. Like, Paddy Pimblett beat Jordan Levitt. Like, Jordan Levitt's a good fighter. Like, that's a name people know in the fight community. Eric Gonzalez is not. And I love Terrence McKinney. I think what happens if they fight right now is Paddy Pimblett wins. I think he wins pretty easily, too. McKinney's not ready for a fight like this. He's just not. And it's too early in both of their careers to make this happen. I think both of them are going to be in the top 5. I think this division is about to have a huge turnover. The lightweight division is about to be still just as good as it's ever been, but it's about to be all new, different people. So why would you waste making this fight just to watch Paddy Pimblett, who's much more experienced, has better stand-up, and probably just as good as ground game. What we've seen from Paddy is that he can wrestle, and we need to stop acting like he can't. I mean, he struggled with Jordan Levitt's grappling, stand-up grappling, but everyone struggles with Jordan Levitt's grappling. It doesn't matter how good you are. Jordan Levitt's one of the best grapplers in the UFC. He just can't strike. He can't wrestle. He can't do anything else. He can grapple, though. He's really fucking good at it. That's why he's still in the UFC. Anyway, yeah. I love Terrence McKinney, but Paddy Pimblett at this point in both of their careers, Paddy Pimblett's the clearer, better fighter. He just is, and he wins this fight.
For sure. All right, I agree. Obviously, Dustin, who do you think's gonna win if the Terrence McKinney versus Paddy Pimblett actually happens?
I don't think it's gonna happen. Simply because McKinney and Pimblett are they're on different paths. I think Pimblett's about to go through the roof. They're about to send him to the PPVs. They're gonna send him to the big cards. And once he renews that contract, and I'm sure it's up here soon, they're gonna pay him more, and they're gonna be putting him up against top 15. I think top 15's next. McKinney is he's just on a different path. I think McKinney's gonna stay around where he's at right now to gain in. Dana's gonna let him fight a little bit more. And I agree with Alec. In the future, I think he's gonna be a star. But right now, he's not on Pimblett's stage. He's not get to that level yet.
No, for sure, guys. I agree with both of you. Paddy Pimblett. The reason why a lot of people hate on him is, basically a lot of people hated on Conor McGregor when he started out. He is really obnoxious, obviously with his comments and all that. So a lot of people tend to think that's a little annoying or whatever. So that's why they probably hate on him. But that's another conversation for another day. We are finally at the point where we can start previewing our fight card. I know we took a long time with our headlines, but I told you guys we had a lot today. So we finally have time to preview our main card. And speaking of which, we're gonna start with the one of my favorite fighters actually. In the middleweight division, we have Gerald Meerschaert versus Bruno Silva. I like Bruno Silva personally. I think that Gerald Meerschaert doesn't have the fight IQ or the skill set to beat Bruno Silva. I think Bruno Silva, even though he suffered a loss against Alex Pereira, it was Alex Pereira, at the end of the day. So I think Bruno Silva takes this one. Alikar, who do you think is going to win?
I honestly don't know. I think Bruno Silva does just because he's got better heart. And he's a little. He's. I'll just say this: John Meerschaert sucks. Like he's just not a good fighter. So Bruno Silva should win, just because of that. And Bruno Silva is the better fighter. That being said, listen. I don't know that Bruno Silva put up a good fight against Alex Pereira. But that was, Alex Pereira has been set up to catapult people. He's been set up with strikers, and that's why. So I don't know if that loss really speaks, like, he's better than that loss. He's worse than that loss, just because Alex Pereira, if he fought a wrestler, would lose in probably the second round. He doesn't know how to fucking wrestle. So I don't know, man. I know people love Bruno Silva because he's been around forever. He's bounced around. He's been all over the place. And he's a fun fighter to watch. He is. But he better win this fight because Meerschaert, like I said, sucks. Real quick, I love doing this, and I'm going to continue to do this. Call out my two-watch prelim fights. Right now, looking at it, there's Martin Buday, which everybody should tune in for. The guy's 10-1. He looks like he's going to be very successful. And then a guy I'm very, very excited about is Odi Osbourne is on this fight. Odi Osbourne, I know, has kind of gone up and down a little bit since his first. I think he's had a couple fights in the UFC. But Odi Osbourne, I swear to you, he's coming. He's coming. And then also look out for Josh Quinlan, who is 5-0. So lots of good fights on the prelims people should tune into.
Hey, Dustin, real quick, who do you think's going to win? You got GM3 versus Bruno Silva.
I'll take Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva's a good fighter, man. He kickboxed Alex Pereira. Stupid. He kickboxed Alex Pereira. I don't know why people keep choosing to do this, but they do. If I was fighting Alex Pereira, I would be trying to take him down the entire fight. I would not let him swing. I'm telling you, I would try to I'd rush after him. You might as well grab onto that dude because you're not going to beat him. If you try to stand, unless Izzy's probably the only one who has a chance. And Bruno Silva's a little bit better striker than people give him credit for. Because, dude, he's stuck with Alex for a little bit. He lost, though, because he kickboxed, obviously. But he's a better striker than Sean Strickland, obviously, because, he didn't get his ass flattened. So, I'm taking Bruno Silva in this fight.
For sure. Speaking of fights that people should tune into, this fight was supposed to be on last week's card, but because the Queen of Violence wasn't medically cleared to compete, and also she did miss weight by 2.5 pounds, she is now onto this card. We're talking about Ariane Lipski versus Priscilla Cachoeira, and this is the women's flyweight belt. Me and Alec last week, we talked about this for a little bit, so we have our picks. We both think that Lipski is going to win this fight. So I'm going to go over to Dustin and ask you, which of these women are going to win this coming Saturday?
I don't know too much about these two.
You don't know Lipski?
So it's really hard. It's kind of hard.
You know Lipski.
I know her, but I haven't watched her, dude. Like, who's that? No, I'm sure. No, honestly, I don't know in this fight. I really don't, to be real.
Well, if you're gonna
I'm serious.
bet on Lipsky because me and Alex Carr, we both know the both of them pretty well. So we're gonna move on then to what's called. It says a heavyweight bout, if I'm not mistaken. We got Devin Clark versus Azama Mirzakhanov. I can't pronounce his last name for the life of me, so I'm not.
Mirzakhanov.
Anyways, we got that Russian Dustin that's 11-0, and he's a freaking monster. Devin Clark, I've never been really impressed by him, to be honest with you. So I'm gonna go with the Russian. As many times Dustin goes to when we talk about these fights, but I'm gonna go to Alec Carr first. Obviously, who do you think's gonna win in this bout?
This really a heavyweight fight?
That's what I'm saying. I'm surprised. Cause I was like, wait a second, that doesn't seem right. But maybe they moved up or something. You never know.
Mirzakhanov is light. Every thing he does is light heavyweight. Anyway, the Russians winning. I mean, Mirzakhanov. If you guys haven't watched him, he destroyed Tafan Chokwi, who was one of my guys to watch out for a while ago. He absolutely annihilated him with a flying knee. Round 3. And by the way, Tafan Chokwi just won his last fight, I believe, and it's absolutely proving that he's a beast. It's just this Russian is a Russian, and that's what they do. They fight. Devin Clark he's a guy that I really liked. I did like Devin Clark coming up, which I don't understand too. He's a light heavyweight as well. No, he fought William Knight and got destroyed. Devin Clark's never lived up to his hype. So I still don't understand the weight class. It's throwing me off. If they're fighting at heavyweight, cool. If not, it's light heavyweight. Devin Clark is just a guy that was supposed to be really good. Just hasn't lived up to his hype in the UFC. And then you got this guy who's 11-0, just destroying, guys who are supposed to be the next ones up. So I'm definitely gonna go with Mirzakhanov, the professional, as he's also known as.
All right, Dustin, are you siding with the Russian in this fight?
Bro, I'm just gonna add Devin Clark is a boring ass name. Just listen to that name, Devin Clark. I was in an application. I throw that shit away immediately. Just because your name.
It is light heavyweight. It is light heavyweight fight.
Okay,
Technology's wrong. It's light heavyweight.
Yeah, okay. That makes more sense now.
It's like you can listen to the names and hear who's gonna win. Devin Clark and fucking a guy whose last name sounds like he goes outside and punches bricks for fun. Like I'm sorry. Yeah, the Russians winning. It's easy for me.
All right. Speaking of names that are pretty similar, get this, guys. We have a women's. It doesn't even say on Tapology. It's a fucking strawweight fight. I'm pretty sure strawweight 115. We have Yasmin Yorjiri versus Yasmin Lucinda. I'm like, they both have the same name in my opinion. So, but Yasmin is, according to Alec Carr, is only 20 years old. So, speaking of which, another reason why I don't know why Bo Nichols is not in the fucking UFC. Anyways, again, we're going to talk about that in another time, obviously, because this is probably going to be an ongoing thing. So, Alec Carr, I think I'm going to go with I think she's Mexican. She is 8-0, so I'm going to go with Yasmin instead of Yasmin. But if Yasmin wins, it's going to be very impressive because she is very young and she's up and coming.
Yeah, so I don't know much about these fighters. No one does. That's what's weird about this fucking fight. No one knows. They're supposed to be prodigies, both of them. That's the thing. Both of them are supposed to be prodigies, highly, highly, highly touted. So that's why they're on here. But again, Bo Nichols not in the UFC, even though he's a prodigy since he was 5 years old. But fuck off, fuck him. Anyway, I'm gonna go with Becerra, Yasmin Becerra. She's been fighting professionally since 2017. She's 20 years old.
Mm.
She's 20 years old. Now, in Brazil, I don't know if this happens all the time with fight records. They might be, professional fights, quote unquote professional fights, because it's in Brazil. There's like, right? I'm right with that, right? Brazil?
Yeah, she's Brazilian. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
in Brazil, there's those fights that are professional but are super sketchy. But still, she's been fighting. She's been fighting for a very long time at 20 years old. I'm excited to watch this fight because it's two young people. This is what pisses me off. Dana White's promoting these two young women, which is awesome. So fucking cool. I'm so pumped for it. But then you do something with Bo Nickel that's stupid. You do something with this young guy that's stupid. You do something with this young guy that's stupid. He's doing it really slow. Just jump both feet in. Anyway, this is super, 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 super exciting. Two young prodigies on a main card. The next fight we're going to talk about, too, has another young prodigy on the main card. But, fuck Bo Nickel. Anyway, I'm pumped.
Yep. All right, Dustin. Again, who are you gonna pick? Is it Yasmin or Yasmin in this fight?
I mean, this is kind of a throw in the air fight. Like Alex said, I don't know too much about these two. Brazil, by the way, like the professional fights in Brazil, that's probably like, I don't want to call it barroom brawling because I don't think it is. I mean, I know there's promotions in Brazil, but I mean, you're right in the sentiment that it's not very, probably not very organized. I mean, I wouldn't say it had a lot of money backing it. So, yeah, I mean, but she's been fighting since 17. I mean, that's not bad, dude. I mean, 3 years of pro experience, pro quotation. We'll see. I like this fight. I mean, if it's two brand new people, I'm in.
For
but
sure.
I could not tell you who's gonna win. I'll pick the one with the extra E before. Extra E.
I know, right? They literally have almost the same name. All right, speaking of which, we're talking about prodigies. We have David Onama versus Nate Landwehr. Okay, here's my thing. Who the hell is going to pick Landwehr to win? That's my question. Not just because it's Onama, but it does have a huge factor in why I'm saying this. But Landwehr is not like a very exciting fighter. I just don't like him personally. Onama's gonna win this fight. I think he is quite a star in the making and is gonna be a problem in the featherweight division, as time progresses. So, Alikar, I think we are probably all gonna agree on this, but I'm gonna ask you anyways. Who do you think's gonna win this fight?
Onama's going to win this fight. It's going to be over in the first round. Honestly, this is going to be one of the fun fights to watch. Over in the first round, Onama absolutely destroys him. And then they're going to just continue to really leapfrog Onama because he has that it factor. He's fun to watch. He's so exciting. And he's just going to, continue. We talked about this last week. Our sometimes co-host was asking us a question in the chats about what are the best divisions in the UFC, and I was like, featherweight definitely got to be up there. It's fucking crazy right now. Now you're gonna throw Onama into the mix, and then probably before the end of the year, it's just crazy. You got Max Holloway, Volkanovski, Max Holloway, Rodriguez, Ortega, Emmett, Cater, Arnold Allen, who's about to fight for a championship probably next year. You got you got Korean Zombie, Giga, who's coming back, Bryce Miller, who we all hate, but is also a really, really good fighter. Mostavar, Dan Ige, Sadiq Yusuf, Edson Barbosa, Shane Burgos, Aya Tupera, and then you have Onama coming up. This division goes 15 deep. It goes 15 deep. I'm so excited. I'm just so pumped for the featherweight division. Onama wins this fight. Easy.
For sure. Dustin, who do you think's going to win this fight?
This is a bowling pin fight. This is like the boxing warm-ups. When they get a warm-up fight before the super fights they go into, it's basically what it is. I mean, we know who's winning this fight. The 145 division, I am excited for it. The only problem in the 145 division is they got that king, Volkanovski, on top of it, and he's going to be hard to dethrone. So we'll see. But then it's gonna be interesting 145. But I think Volkanovski's moving up for that super fight 155. So we'll see.
I will say this: Volkanovski's never fought a man like Arnold Allen in his life. That is a bad matchup for Volk.
Probably not.
All right, we are gonna move on to our bantamweight main event. We got Dominic Cruz versus Chito Martin Vera, and I know why Alec is smiling. He became a new Vera fan just recently, and admitted that he was wrong about Vera. And Alec Carr is not even in the picture right now. There he is. Okay. Anyways, um, I used to be a big Dominic Cruz fan. A lot of people know that. But he hasn't looked the same ever since he's gotten his like fourth injury and came back, and he hasn't fought the same. So and Vera just looked really good in his last fight, and so I'm probably gonna go with Vera on this one. Do I care for both of them? Not too much. Vera, I don't really care for as well, but he did look impressive in his last fight, so I'm gonna side with him. So Alec Carr, who do you think's gonna win this fight?
You're absolutely right, Monique. If you prove me wrong, you make a fan out of me, unless you're like a racist, sexist asshole. But if you prove me wrong, you make a fan out of me, and Chito Vera definitely did that. The reason I'm laughing and falling out of the screen is because Chito Vera is about to beat the shit out of Dominic Cruz. Like, why this is a main event, I have no idea. It's gonna be him beating the shit out of Rob Font too. He's gonna beat the living fuck out of Dominic Cruz. He's like a foot taller than him. He's got it's like a 7-inch reach advantage. He's gonna absolutely annihilate Dominic should retire Cruz. And should retire from MMA Cruz, because I don't want to see him back in the fucking booth. This is dumb. This is such a dumb fight. The Chito Vera should be fighting Corey Sandhagen. We all know it. That's the best matchup for him. That would be so fucking exciting. But now we gotta watch him beat the shit out of Dominic Cruz for no reason. Like, Dominic Cruz, just retire after this fight, because you're about to get your millionth injury, because you're about to get the shit kicked out of you. Seriously. Dead serious. I am worried for Dominic Cruz's health in this fight. I am very worried. He's like, there should be an ambulance, I know there's always an ambulance at an MMA event, but they should have like extra doctors there. They should like call in surgeons to do surgical consults after the fight, make sure he's okay. The UFC should be concerned for Dominic Cruz, and I'm joking, but in dead serious. This is such a dumb fight. Chito Vera's gonna kill this man. I'll stop talking about it because I want to hear Dustin's thoughts on it too. But yeah, this fight's so dumb, so dumb.
All right, Dustin, who do you think is gonna win in this bantamweight bout? Is it gonna be Cruz or is it gonna be Vera? Did we lose him? I was like, I can't hear anything.
I'm gonna have to go at
Okay.
I'm gonna have to go with Vera because look, what made Dominic Cruz good was how well he could move.
I think he's cutting in and out. Is it just me, Alec, or are you hearing it too?
And
Yeah, no, he's cutting in and out. Dustin, you're cutting in and out, buddy.
I think he.
Hopefully, we can get his thoughts on this fight because it's the last fight of the card. Maybe he has to join in a little bit. Maybe we'll give it a couple seconds or something. Maybe he'll join back in. But while Dustin is apparently frozen on my screen, at least.
Yeah, me too. I'll just say this too. Like,
yeah.
Why wouldn't they put the two tallest guys in the division, the two great kickboxers in the division, the two very exciting fighters in the division, in Sandhagen and Chito Vera? Blows my mind. Just blows my mind. Dustin, you're back.
We'll
All right.
ahead.
see
Can you hear me now?
about Vera. Yeah. What's up?
Okay, so I think Vera's gonna win because what made Dominic Cruz good, man, is how well he moved, and he was a very smart tactical fighter. And I think like with all the injuries and the age, he's losing that advantage. It showed with who am I thinking about? It showed with Cody. When Cody schooled him like that, it showed he's not able to move like he used to. And I swear he's about to get a prosthetic knee because that boy steps on the mat and tears his ACL when he looks at it. So, I mean, we'll see. I think Cheetah's a little bit aggressive. We'll see how well Dominic can move. I mean, that's what it really comes down to, how fast he can get around. Because Cheeto's he's gonna press it, and if Dominic if he's not active and on those toes and moving around, Cheeto's gonna definitely beat him in a brawl. I mean, if they start throwing and exchanging, Cheeto's gonna catch him, and Cheeto's probably gonna win the fight. So we'll see. I mean, I do agree with him in the booth. Please do not go to the booth. Go write articles or something, because he is boring. It's like listening to a fucking computer speak. Like it's terrible. I don't even want to. I'll mute him. Literally, I'll just put him on mute. Hopefully he finds another profession after fighting than commentating. But yeah, I think Cheeto's gonna get this, to be real.
For sure. I think, again, I'm pretty sure I was not surprised that we all agreed on this. Speaking of which, this will be it for this week's edition of Fights Around. However, next week, which I don't know if I can make it, which sucks because it's the fucking pay-per-view, and I'm super pissed off that I might not be here, but it is UFC 278. We have Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards. Not a bad card. We got Paulo Costa coming back against Rockhold, Jose Aldo, a fan favorite, versus Murav Dvalishvili, Marcin Tybura, Alexander Romanov, and Tyson Pedro Harry Hunsucker. And there's also people in the prelims card: Leonardo Santos, Jared Gordon, a couple of the girl fights as well. So please stay tuned for that. I can't believe I might be missing it next week. We'll see. Oh yeah, Alec Carr, you want to say something?
I would say stay tuned, everybody, because I'm traveling next week for work. So let's just move the day we do it. How about that?
We probably will.
Do it. And because we got to talk about this card. It's very important.
No, for sure. So we will talk. We stay tuned for our postings because it might change the day that we do talk about this card. But thank you to my two co-hosts, as always, for joining me on Fights Unwrapped, and we will see you all next week at a different time. Bye, guys.